Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get Drive-Thru.
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
Talking about the tales where the shadows crawl. Chapter by chapter, we've covered it all. From the capes and cows to the darkest night. Every film, every fight, a fancy light. Turn the page, Gotham's glory awaits. Batman on film, where legends create. Oh, we ride through the Gotham skies. From the bat's rise to the villain's eyes. Turn the reels, where the story is bright. A Batman on film, the legends alive. Break down the madness, scene by scene, where the city's close and dark dreams convene. From the old to the new, the saga unfolds. A vigilante sail in the echoing cold. Step into Gotham where justice earns. Through words and whispers, the bat returns. Oh, we ride through the Gotham skies. From the bat's rise to the villain's eyes. Turn the reels where the story is bright. I'm Batman on film, the legend's alive. In the shadow of the night, tales untold. Pages turn as the saga unfolds. Join the journey in this timeless quest. Batman on film stands above the rest. Oh, we ride through the Gotham skies. From the bat's rise to the villain's eyes. Turn the reels where the story is bright. I'm Batman on film, the legend's alive.
Welcome to Batman on Film, chapter by chapter. A look at the cinematic history of Batman on film and Batman movies, chapter by chapter. Is that right, Ryan Lauer, senior BOF contributor? Hello, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm good. And I do appreciate sometimes the title of something is telling you exactly what it is. So
Yes.
It's chapter by chapter. We're looking at a movie. Chapter by chapter. All right.
Exactly.
There you go.
It's right there.
Don't try to
It's
get too fancy.
self-explanatory. Yeah. Yes, and this is Batman on Film. This is a Batman on Film podcast, batman-on-film.com. Oh, and I'm merely Bill Ramey, the founder of Batman on Film.
Merely.
Yes. Yes. Let's ride. Okay, I don't care. We're going to do odds posting. Let's ride. We're going to turn our attention to a movie that came out 30 years ago. It's called Batman Forever, and we'll be breaking that down. And it's, it was on the agenda, but it's a good time because it is the 30th anniversary of the movie. And Ryan, before we get started, what's when you think of Batman Forever, what comes to mind?
Joygasm. Honestly, I think of like right away is Jim Carrey Riddler and Panther suit.
Okay.
Like those are like pending the day. One of those
Yeah.
images, if someone says Batman Forever, that pops up in my head, and then the logo.
So this movie,
Because-
it was like, this is your
Yeah.
kid Bat fan wheelhouse, wasn't it? When it
Yes. And I know Pete and I have said it tons of times when we've podcasted with you. We've said it tons of times on the Batman Book Club of like we were prime age for Batman Forever. We were both born in 1986, so we were 9, 10 years old when we saw Batman Forever. This was, and the movie is very accessible. Perhaps the most kid appropriate Batman movie up to that point for someone of that age, maybe 66. You could argue 66 is as well. But as far as like in our childhood, Batman, Batman Returns, and Batman Forever, this one was the
Yeah.
most, popcorn. So we were just prime age for it, and everything about it was just like awesome. You're like that guy in Batman Forever when Batman crashes through the skylight at the gala, and the guy goes, "Batman!" It's like that was us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I have very fond memories of Batman Forever, and it's always has a soft spot in my heart for a variety of reasons. I was 95. I was golly, how I was just about I was 29, and not yet 30, and I was really super excited for it because if you didn't know, I'm not a big fan of Batman Returns.
hmm
Probably because, and then I would say Batman Returns is. Pete asked me this yesterday in the social hour. What was I more disappointed in, Batman Returns or BBS?
Yeah, that was a good question.
And I said it's Batman Returns because I was all in. I was invested
hmm
totally in that series, that film series coming off of Batman '89, which I had watched I don't know how many times in that 3 year period
Yeah.
between Batman and Batman Returns, and was just disappointed as hell. And so, just this is would you call it? Is it a reboot or soft reboot? I always think of it in terms it's a
It's a
soft
soft.
reboot.
It's a soft because if it was a reboot, they wouldn't mention anything from prior movies.
Yeah,
And right off the bat, obviously, when Chase says to Batman about, or do I need skin tight vinyl and a leather whip?
yeah,
Yeah, obviously she's talking about Catwoman.
yeah,
Um, and that's one of those like almost whenever I think of like Easter eggs or something in movies, I think that actually is a great example of somebody who is unaware, hasn't seen anything else, can hear
yeah,
that, and it doesn't take them out of the movie. It actually is like a
yeah. It's
comment
not in
of,
your face,
yeah,
over the top, sledgehammer.
us, we know, oh, there's like parentheses, she's talking about Catwoman. Like
Yeah,
we know that. And so it works. Um, and the carryover of Gordon, the carryover of Michael Gough as
Alfred.
Alfred,
Yeah,
like those to me always make it sound like, okay, it's a soft reboot. It's not a full-on reboot. Reboot is Batman Begins.
yes, definitely soft reboot. Not sure if that was even a term back then because there wasn't really reboots until Batman Begins, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it was clearly different musical score, um, different director, of course,
Mm-hmm.
Joel Schumacher, replacing Tim Burton,
Tone.
different Batman. Val Kilmer replaces Michael
Mm-hmm.
Keaton.
Everything else
So
was different.
yeah,
Batmobile, Wayne Manor.
Batman. Yeah, what do you? How do you look at it when it comes to continuity? Do you consider the Burton Schumacher films? I think both. I think any answer is right. To be honest, they were clearly intended to be in the same. Like Val Kilmer and George Clooney are all, and Michael Keaton are supposed to be the same Batman, or
I
they
don't do
were
that.
meant to be the same Batman at the time.
Yeah, I don't do that. I just be like, oh yeah, there's the Burton
Yeah,
movies and there's the Schumacher movies.
yeah,
And usually I only talk about, and I'll say the Burton Schumacher era of like just grouping in those like, oh, I'm talking about all four of those. Blah blah blah. I was growing up in the 90s as in those were my movies, so it hit me different, blah, blah, like, but I don't ever talk about them. Well, actually, the story of Returns continues in Batman Forever because of this. It's like, no, no. It's too separate, like in a way. Even though I just said soft reboot, it's hard, especially when you change a main actor. Like it'd have been really hard for me to watch Spider-Man 2 with Jake Gyllenhaal as Peter Parker and think, oh, this is a direct sequel from the first Spider-Man, because that was a legit possibility back in the day when that was made. And just like Dark Knight has a different Rachel than Batman Begins. And that's like, but that's not the lead. Batman's still the same. All the other components are still the same.
Yeah,
So it's like
the
my
rules are
mind's
soft.
strange.
When
Yeah.
it's got to be whatever you want. It's definitely a soft reboot. They were meant to be in the same continuity.
Yeah.
They can be in the same continuity. It can be a quadrilogy if you want it to be, but it also can be, it's kind of like what they've done with the Batman 89 stuff of late. It's just they've ignored Batman Forever and Batman and Robin and just jumped ahead with the comic books and then the novel that came out last fall. But there's also you could take the two Schumacher films and you could do a comic book of Batman Triumphant or Batman Unchained, whatever the hell it was going to be called as well. Not a bad idea.
I think what you've long said is it's like Batman and Bond are very similar in the sense of like sometimes it's just like it's a Batman movie. It's a Bond movie. You don't necessarily you aren't shackled to continuity, the movie before, and how does it connect in all these story points. It can just be sold as a Batman movie, a Bond movie. Okay, I'm in. Somebody jumps into Forever. They're not lost.
It was like in the Bond mold at that time where you didn't say, okay, we're rebooting, we're doing a soft. You just kind of make the movie.
Yeah,
and you had some of the people, same characters, same actors. Some were different. Just like Bond, which is kind of ironic. Bond is now, well, for 20 years or almost 20 years, Bond took a page from Batman Begins and then reboot with Casino Royale. And now they're going to have another continuity, another story of Bond. So things are different. All right. But yes, I'm a fan of Batman Forever. I'm looking forward to going through the movie and breaking it down.
When was the last time you watched it, beginning to end?
This weekend.
Okay, before this weekend.
It's been a while.
Or is it when you it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because sometimes I do find, especially in talking to common folk, the non-nerds like us.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of like something. Oh yeah, I liked that. When was the last time you saw it? Oh, I saw it when it first came out, and I haven't seen it since. Not just Batman Forever, just like this kind of stuff, Batman stuff and whatever. That I'm like, I watched that like multiple times every single year. Am I weird?
Yeah,
maybe.
I would say it's probably my second most watched Batman film after Batman 89.
I can get that.
And then rapidly catching up is the Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever catch Batman 89. I can't tell you how many times I watched that. I burnt out two VHS cassettes of it.
People may be surprised, Bill. I'm younger than you. And I know my lifetime there will never be another movie that will catch up to how many times I've seen 89.
Yeah.
Because I have dozens, maybe hundreds of viewings as a kid under my belt.
Yeah.
Of that one. So.
All right.
But anyways.
Well,
all right. Batman Forever.
Let's and there's a whole different, we could get in a whole new tangent. I'm not even going to go there, but there's all the, the Red Diary / the direct Schumacher cut of it. That's a whole different podcast for a different time.
Read the novelization.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll just tell people that. Find the novelization, read the novelization, because that is the Red Diary cut. If you're wondering, it's right there.
Yeah.
And it's good.
It's not significantly different.
Yeah.
But Again, I
Yep.
didn't want to go on a tangent. Anyway, here
That's
we
right.
go. This is
All right.
the all right, so this
Let's
is part
ride.
one, chapter one. Let's ride. Speaking of riding, ride
Mm-hmm.
right through that McDonald's,
Hey-oh.
or that was a McDonald's tie-in back then, so that's appropriate.
Got the Batman
Uh
Forever glasses.
yes. Chapter one of Batman Forever, chapter by chapter. I'll get drive-through. I'll get drive-through. I'll get drive-through. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So we start off, Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers logo morphs into the Bat logo. I remember that was very 90s. And I thought that's really cool back then when it happened.
Yeah. It's fun now. And I think that I know that flat out, that's the Bat symbol. Yes, I know.
Uh-huh.
But there's something about it of that is to me of like the Bat symbol of the late 90s, early 2000s on
Yeah.
comics and stuff too, like that thick, if you will, Bat symbol. That's the one of that era.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cool looking because it's kind of it's the way the art of it is. It's you see it clearly. It's the Bat logo, but it's
Mhm.
like the shade of this. It's not
Yeah,
like the full
it's like
thing.
moonlight's hitting it.
Yeah, it's cool. Um, that was the first Batman movie where we get the Bat logo
Mhm.
at the beginning, essentially, right?
Yeah, because I was thinking about that too, and I'm like, maybe some people would push back on 89, but it's like, no,
That's
it's different.
Yeah,
Like this is throwing that Bat symbol in your face, like right here at the
at the
beginning.
beginning. Yeah,
And that was weaving and waving, and then you find out at the end what you've been working through is the Bat symbols. Totally different.
yeah,
Like your
yeah.
comment
I'm
holds
with you.
firm.
And so it kind of continued even with Batman and Robin, and then in a different way
Yeah,
with the Dark Knight trilogy films.
damn right. Mhm.
So, it is. Did you find it curious that it is right off the bat? It's titled a Tim Burton production before it says a Joel Schumacher film.
Funny. It's looking.
That's
What's the
100%
term?
marketing.
Peeking
You
through the
know.
weeds. Yeah. Yeah. It's got to use, and because I'm sure all sorts of lawyer talk and everything, Mr. Uslan could get very specific on it of like, because Burton was attached to this for a bit and everything. So he's got to have his name in there somewhere. But yeah,
He
it's
kind
almost
of
like a handing of the baton right there
he
at the
kind
beginning.
of yeah he kind of shepherded
Hmm.
project and then handed it off to Joel, and then Joel took it from there.
Yep.
Because he was pretty much like invited to take a step back by Warner Brothers at the time.
Yep.
The logos introducing the cast come flying by and flying different colors, kind of represent the characters.
And the music,
Yeah.
like right off the beginning, I think it's a good, and it's only because we're looking at this small chunk, in depth, but like, I don't know, they're setting you in for the different vibe that this one is compared to the last one. And it's not night and day. It's not drastically different. But I mean, like you hear, and I'm not like some kind of musician, um, or musical instrument expert, but you can just hear like the it's like a bigger sound than what Elfman had done the last two. And the previous one was very stringy and, like almost a little bit more intimate. And this is just a big old as the stuff's flying through, and it's very like actiony.
Action, adventure, and that,
Technical term, actiony.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it, and the font's different. It's that you recognize it as the Batman Forever font. Now, that's when I see that font on anything, it's like that's Batman Forever font,
Yeah.
And
each color of the font matches the character that actor's playing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's genius.
It's so clever.
speaking of the music, do you
Mhm.
like the music, the score, the L.A. Goldenthal's score?
I
I
do.
do. Yeah,
It's not near the top of Batman scores.
yeah.
But I like it. I don't have complaints, honestly.
Have you ever heard his story of how he came up with, the main riff, the bum 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 bum? Close enough.
If I have, I forgot. So
Okay.
you know what? I'm gonna say no.
It was
Enlighten
like
me.
he said, like being a kid and having
Hmm.
your action figures, you're
That makes
playing with
sense.
them and you are going bum, 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 like
Yeah.
you making it was kind of that. And once I heard that, I could hear it in the music, especially that the Batman theme, I
Yeah.
guess, of that, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
We get the actors. Val Kilmer gets top billing. He's Batman, of course.
Yeah.
What did you think of Val Kilmer when you're a kid? Do you
I
remember it go with the news? Val Kilmer was going to be the new
no.
Batman.
No, I don't remember that. I did have a Batman Forever magazine. So, back in those days when you're you know, 6, 7, 8 years old, you are scrambling and struggling to collect pennies so that you could go buy something.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably was like $4, $5 for this magazine that was about Batman Forever. And I had that for the longest time. And I don't remember whatever happened to it. And that was when I got my info that there's a new Batman movie and it was Val Kilmer. Hilarious now to think about it. I may have seen Tombstone by that age, which is hilarious
Okay.
that a
Yeah.
rated R Western and I was 8 or 9 years old when I watched it. But um, also compared to rated R movies these days, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but that might have been, all I had to go on. So it's too young to have a real opinion on a guy playing
Yeah.
Batman other than, oh, it's not the guy that I've seen in these other two movies.
Yeah. I told this story before, as recently as yesterday. But yeah, I remember I was at a bar and they had Entertainment Weekly on in the background and it was muted out. And I just remember they had like Batman logo, Keaton popped up, and then a picture of Val Kilmer. And I went, what? I could
Yeah.
just from that, I put two and two together. This is way before, I couldn't just grab my cell phone and find out instantly. I had to go. I was like, did they recast Batman? And I remember finding out later that afternoon, evening, whenever this was. Yeah, there was a new Batman because then it became like a big deal,
Yeah.
you know, that Val Kilmer. And it was as revered as Keaton is today, there was almost like, uh, okay, it brought some juice
I was just gonna say an
to the
unintentional
series.
marketing move that I
Yeah.
probably that sparked interest, you know.
Yes,
Um,
because Kilmer was a
it,
big deal then.
mhm.
He was coming off a Tombstone. He had
The
played
Doors.
Jim Morris in The Doors,
Yeah.
and especially that Tombstone, he was kind of stole the show,
Yeah.
and that was a big. I think Joel Schumacher said when Keaton was no longer at it, it was while he was watching Tombstone and thought, yeah, Val Kilmer would be good, you know.
Yeah.
So it was it was like it was like juice. It was like injecting some positivity into.
Because you're gonna gain some interest too.
Yeah,
From people like, oh, there's a new Batman. Oh, there's a new guy playing Batman. I'm like people being intrigued.
yeah,
And also as long as you got people talking about it, like as long as people are aware, that's like half the battle. You
yeah.
just need people to know about it. And so that right there, I think is enough, especially then where media times were different. Um,
Much different.
you get people to find out about it. It's like awesome. We've got their interest. That's all we need. And then let's ride.
Yeah. So we get a
Oh,
suit
I was
up
gonna say
segment.
really really quick, I do
Yeah, go
love
ahead.
the zooming out at the end with the bat symbol and then how Forever does the turn and like the green light
Hmm.
shining through. I
Yeah.
always thought that was cool. Still now, I think that's cool. It looks cool.
Does, does it? It reminds me of some reason. I think the bat signal. I don't know why. When I see that part of the
I
credits with Forever.
it doesn't me, but like that doesn't mean anything negative. I don't.
Well, never mind then.
Yeah, how dare you?
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah. It's just bright
Yeah,
forever. There's no
sure.
bat. You don't see Batman. It's just forever. I don't know. It's just what I it,
Yeah.
that's how we interpret stuff. Okay, I'll keep that to myself from now on.
No, it's already out
Okay.
there. Don't you cut it out. You leave it in.
The suit up stuff. Do you like that little segment?
Sure.
It's not over the top. And I thought the only part that I thought was, I don't know if I thought at the time, but after all the times I've seen it, is it's like basically the utility belt, but it's the crotch.
Yeah, I was gonna say the camera is a little. It could zoom in a little more because like the cod piece is right there, like
Yeah,
boom, and it's like but otherwise it's like I used to do this stuff all the time as a kid. I'm almost like whoosh, whoosh, like
yeah,
this is more for the age that I was at, like that audience too, of like, look how cool this is, Batman suiting up. But I'm not gonna act like I was 10 years later, Begins kind of had one, and I
Begins
was an
had
adult
one.
at that point, and I thought that looked like that was awesome too. So I think this is totally fun, and you're just seeing little pieces of the suit coming together. The sound effects make me laugh because they don't necessarily match up. And also it's like all he does is just pick up. It's almost like when you hear in movies, they always have to. Always somebody grabs a knife out of the holder and you hear shh. When it's like
Yeah,
it does not do that. You go to your
yeah.
kitchen and pull one, it doesn't do that. Here, everything he's grabbing is like a ring, ring, grong. It's like, okay, all right,
it's
let's tone it down a little bit.
it's it's to me it was always it was more the music trying to match what the imagery was.
Yeah.
you know, because you hear the ching ching, chong,
Yep.
all that while
Yeah.
if you listen to that music. So,
I do love the
um,
close up of the oval on the
yeah,
chest.
yeah. When he's turned around facing a mirror, I don't know,
Mirror.
and it's just like the cape, whoosh,
Mhm.
I just noticed from watching it again. I watched the segment again right before we did this. You see his reflection pretty well.
Mhm.
Like at first you just see it from it's like from behind. You're like from a behind Batman point of view. So, and then he comes up the stairs. That's all cool. The music is building, and and then it's the Batmobile rising up. That's look. I'm old. That's still it's still image. It's cool Batman
It's a
imagery.
bat cave, man.
You know,
You're entering this massive bat cave.
yeah. And I gotta think that Batmobile and Batman coming up, and then as your age when you first saw that, that was the shit, huh?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was so cool of the opening and the light coming through on those steps and uh the big bat symbol that's on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Um I mean it creates a total, and I don't say this negatively, like a 90s vibe. And it'd be interesting to intricately look at Batman comics at this time because I do think that comics started to reflect the movies because I think of early 90s Aparo and Brayfogle Bat Caves was like it was cave. The
Mm-hmm.
was it stalactites?
Yeah.
Is that it? Like at the top of the cave and stuff, and like the way that it's colored is it's very much a cave, and then he just set up like shop over here and over here, whereas this is like we constructed, the iron on the sides and then this on the side. The big bat symbol is on the cave, and if you break it down because you want to ruin things, yeah, you can be like, why would he put a bat symbol in his own bat cave? And it's like because it's a damn comic book come to life and it's cool. Like
Yeah.
don't watch a Batman movie if
Yeah.
that's what you're thinking about. And so as a kid and even now, like I have it paused on like we're in front of the Batmobile with the big cave behind it, and it's just like, yeah, this was like losing my freaking mind as a kid seeing this. I'm like, oh my gosh, look how awesome that is! It's a Batcave.
Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor. I like how it pans up really quickly up right up to Kilmer as Batman,
Yeah.
and it's a good and the shot is awesome, and it's well. I like how he's lit up. You know,
Hmm.
it's a lot of shadow, and then of course we get the famous or infamous "Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?" And then
Okay, Drive-Thru.
never bothered
Um,
me. Never bothered me.
Now I can see. I think that it's delivered almost a little stale.
Yeah.
And it's hokey. I do think with even with this, the what do you want to say? The pieces are there where you can see we're just maybe missing between this and Batman and Robin another movie on this trajectory of we're getting to 60s series, you know, there. I'll get drive through. The marketing of Batman on the wheels of the Batmobile, Batman ending up there in front of a ton of people and dialogue like, oh, okay, he's starting to lean in on 60s Batman, I think, even here. Like subtly for sure. But then the jump to the next movie is massive. Do you think that's accurate? There's
Yes,
a couple things here.
I would say that it is. Um, Batman Forever is more aligned with like the stuff of the 40s and 50s,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
and 50s before it became sci-fi as hell.
Hmm.
You know, we just talked about,
Before Robin died at dawn.
yeah. Um, so you know, Batman and Robin running over the giant piano keys of he's this huge
Yeah.
giant piano and so forth. Uh, I mean, I don't know how that would work. I guess he could have just, they just show him, and the next thing you know is, him revving up the bat signal, the Batmobile and heading out.
That's cool.
But it was kind of like, okay, let's inject a little light humor here.
Hmm.
You know what?
Yeah.
Still doesn't bother me. Whatever. Batman goes, he's in the Batmobile, he's taking off. Do you, when he flips that switch and the hologram opens up the Batcave, or hologram disappears, that's supposed to be like covering it up or whatever. You get that? You take that as a homage to the '60s series when the Batmobile came out of the Batcave, and the barrier drops down, the Batmobile goes over it, and they're gone.
That's hilarious because I don't think I'd ever thought of it before.
Yeah, really.
But it's right there. Like it's it literally is right there if he comes out the side of you know, side of a mountain or whatever, it comes shooting out of the Batcave and the Batmobile. So yeah, I mean it's right there, but I guess I never really thought of it. I think I thought quickly of 89 Descent into Mystery of the Batmobile driving in the woods, and then
Yeah.
here it's like he goes driving by, he's in the woods basically. That's what I would think of. But that's just because I wasn't too familiar with the 60 series at that time when I saw this. So, but yeah, right now you just inceptioned me.
Okay.
Now, whenever I watch this, I'll think like, oh yeah, this is kind of like the 60 series. Thanks,
I
man.
always thought that ever
Yeah.
since I saw it the first
Sure.
time on the big screen. Whether that was the case or not, I don't know. But that's how I
Yeah.
interpreted it. Then we jump into the Two-Face speech. We see Two-Face for the first time. I really like this. Is probably the best Two-Face moment of the movie.
Yeah. Like I think this was when you read the novelization, excuse me, which I do, I won't constantly talk about that, but I think it's worth reading for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, the Harvey Dent portion of this monologue, like that's the voice of Two-Face you hear reading the novelization. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that it could have been a totally different movie. I think it would have been I do honestly think it would have been a more effective movie. Uh, watching this if his toned down if his Two-Face part would have been toned down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your initial comment about the best Two-Face part of the movie, I agree.
It's really good. I
Hmm.
the speech, it's from the point of view we see Harvey,
Hmm.
from the side, his profile, and he's giving the speech, you're a gambling man,
Yeah.
that,
Was it counting on the winged Avenger to save you, my
save you
friend?
from, yeah. But
And
that little, yeah.
Joel does a really good job of like framing it up pretty too. Like only if like you can see just a snippet of purple hair on the back
Mhm.
of the head and a little bit on the front here. Otherwise, it does a really good job of framing him up as for people that
Harvey.
don't
Yeah.
know that he's
Yeah.
Two-Face.
Wonder if anybody was like, oh,
What happened?
yeah, someone did.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yeah.
that one person is, but
No, I don't know either.
but I like the speech, and he's, talking about, why do things happen? You know,
Hmm.
uh, junkies grow, what is it? Politicians grow fat, junkies grow legion. Why?
Hmm.
Blind, simple, stupid, doodah, clueless luck. It's all
Yeah.
luck. He says, what is it? Random toss of the coin is the only true justice. I liked it, and of course the security guard, very like stereotypical, tied up.
Yeah.
Like almost, I don't want to say cartoonish, but like if someone was being put on a
His
railroad.
cartoony's coming up in just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Here, yeah, it's I
You
get
know how
what
they
you're
would have
saying.
someone on the bad guy put someone on a railroad track.
Yes, yeah.
It's almost that kind of, he's bonded up that way. You're going to
Yeah.
kill me.
So this is also the mass audience. It's their introduction to Two-Face
Mhm.
because many that come to that frequent BOF know, but maybe like some don't that that 60 series had a script
Mhm.
for a Two-Face character, but they thought it'd be too scary for kids, so they
Mhm.
aborted it. They translated it into a comic book form, which I highly recommend from the Batman 60s comic series. Um, so this is, and it's funny because I do think Joker is obvious. The masses know and have always known who Joker is, and they do love Joker. They love Batman and Joker. Catwoman, probably same thing. Penguin and Riddler, it's like those do we all say those are the four biggest just because that's what we've been told, or do we firmly
Yes.
believe it? Two-Face,
Yes.
I think Two-Face would end up becoming number five. And if the Batman Part
Yes.
Two has Two-Face in it, I do think there could be some people that'd be like, "Oh, we just got Two-Face." Well, in actuality, we didn't just get Two-Face, but he feels like he is like upper echelon with Batman universe now, which is funny to me because he's
He's
only
a
been in two
A-list.
movies,
He's an A-list Batman villain.
and
No
he's only been
doubt.
in two movies
Yeah. Yeah.
that were 13 years apart. And the last time we saw him in a movie was, I mean, at this time, we're coming up on 17 years since the last time we saw him. And yet, some reason he feels like he is up there. So it's interesting to me because the response to Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face is usually kind of like laughable and like, oh,
Mhm.
he should have toned down. But yet, he made some kind of an impression, you know?
Sure. I mean, it's a very valid and appropriate way to look at it. I mean, yeah, that was probably the first time the masses discovered the character of Two-Face.
Hmm.
Well, they didn't get the good Harvey Dent part, you
Yeah, they had to
know.
wait a while till they got.
Yeah. Uh, to see what that character's all about. But yeah, you're right. The big four is because of the TV series,
Yeah.
and Two-Face is that level. And he just didn't, we kind of don't think about it in that terms because the omission from the 60 series only.
Mhm.
That's show you how much influence the 60 series has. All right,
Yeah.
we'll start winding this up. We get hot entrance. Batman comes down on a bat rope.
Oh, let me bring this up because this
Yeah.
is a point of contention. So we've already seen the Batmobile. We've seen the
Yeah.
lights, that it's blue, the engine's
Mhm.
blue or whatever. When Batman, and I credit Schumacher for sure. He does some really good Batman like swinging shots, like aerial
Yeah.
shots in the whole movie. And here, this is a good one too. And the Batmobile in the background, it's lit up green. It's not blue. It's green. I think this is like the only time in this movie that it's lit up green. Who knows why they did it? McFarlane released that Batmobile last year, and it was lit up green. And nerds kind of lost their mind. Why is it green? It's not green. It's rah, rah, rah. And one member of Batman on Film, Kowalski, I had to screenshot and show him actually it's being movie accurate and that it is lit up green.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. They should have actually made it blue. I don't know why this is the one where it's lit up green. It's weird. Regardless, kick-ass shot, and I happen to freeze it at a perfect shot too of like Batman is right in the middle with that bat symbol up in the sky, Batmobile, like that's a
Yeah.
damn good shot. Can you see it good?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
turning it to Bill on my iPad. Yeah. I'm like, that's a kick-ass shot.
You know what? Just like you
That's a good
never
one.
thought about the homage to the 60 series with the Batcave Batmobile exit.
Yeah.
I never thought of the Batmobile being lit green.
Being green.
It
Well,
never,
there's
never-
lights
yeah.
on that bridge because it's parked on a bridge and the lights across the bridge are green. So it's probably something with that and whatever. I don't know. I
just
kind of don't
never-
care either.
I guess that's the bottom line. I don't.
Yeah, because Stone Cold said so.
Yeah, don't care. But
All right.
now, yeah. So
I've inceptioned you. Okay.
yes,
Hot entrance.
hot entrance. Watching this again, I was struck how young Nicole Kidman looked in this film.
Yeah.
And that was 30 years ago. So I don't know why I should be shocked. I'm not to say she still doesn't look very
Yeah.
good.
So they
right
probably
now.
filmed this. They filmed this in 94 if it
Yeah.
was released in
Yeah.
95.
Yeah.
So she was born in 67. Do the math. 27.
67. She's 50, probably 57. She's a couple years younger than me.
Oh, when this was made, she was
She was
like
she was
27.
27, yeah.
I was always fooled, and now just it's one of those things of it. Is it because I know that she was wearing a blonde wig? I just thought that was her hair. I think this whole part to me feels like a slightly more serious 60s scene.
Yeah.
Batman dropping down right there in front of all these people, as we know, like Batman doesn't do that. You could say he was walking around in returns for that small scene with Gordon and the mayor. But this is like right in front of all these people. And he's talking to Gordon and he's having this whole exchange and he does a handshake to Dr. Meridian and all that. And I'm like, yeah, this feels a little 60s to me.
Yeah. That's it's fair. I agree with that. Looking back.
And I'm not going to say like this is a shit scene or anything like that either, but it's like they've got to introduce her early. This is how they do it.
I like Batman, Val Kilmer, as Batman here. I thought his dialogue was very Batmanish, like he's one step. He knows she's a doctor of psychology, a psychiatrist, whatever. 220, 221, whatever it takes. You knew that was coming. And he's like, insightful, naive, but insightful,
Yeah.
and, there's a little buffoonery. I don't want to say full on buffoonery.
That cannot be sanctioned.
Gordon, but it's like kind of like, I brought Dr. Meridian to in this case because she's and he goes, it's just like Gordon is just kind of there,
Yeah. Yep.
I do. You know, I like the, you know, Two-Face event, the second anniversary and the second, what is it? Second,
Yeah. Second Bank of Gotham.
Second anniversary, the day I captured him. You know, the two stuff. Probably the only time we've ever had the two thing, two of this, two duel being mentioned with Two-Face in a Batman movie.
Except, Dark Knight, The Dark Knight. There we go. Has them, but they're much more subtle.
Yes, I'm
250
talking
52nd Street.
Yeah, I mean
But
over the top, hitting us with that proverbial sledgehammer.
I like it.
Yeah,
I really do because
yeah,
it's not. I think if it was bigger and it was the massive set pieces that we see in comics with it, then that could
yeah.
be like, okay, this is a bit over. But this one too, it's like comic booky, yes, a little silly, yes, but I'm also all for it because it's just a
Yeah,
quick
it doesn't
exchange.
bother me either. I'm not criticizing it. You know,
Bill, you're dumping on my childhood here.
yeah, she
You're
calls
dumping
him.
on it.
I could write a hell of a paper about a man who dresses like a giant bat, a giant rodent. Is that what
Yeah.
he's? Yeah.
Yeah. That's art rodents, Dr. Meridian.
Yeah, that's a rodent.
Like I giggled
Yeah,
on that part watching it for this. Art rodents, Dr. Meridian. It's like, oh, snap. How do you get under the skin of Batman? Call him a rodent.
yeah. Does and this is clearly direction from Joel Schumacher, but her obvious hots for Batman in this scene, does it bother you?
I mean,
Hot entrance,
it's a bit strong. But I mean, I guess, message received. Trying to get the point across and be like, all right, didn't have to waste any time to know that she's got the hots for Batman. And then they amplify it the next time the two talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Whatever.
Yep.
We get immediately, I mean, it's you see Batman look up and then he's gone, and then you get, let's start this party with a bang. Boys kill the bat. And so you're getting to you're about to have the big action scene.
There is something for criminals being dressed for the part. All of Two-Face's goons, they've all got a look to them. Accessorized, piercings, you name it, over the top. We are definitely in a different era now to where we can look back on this and giggle about it. Would I want this now? I can't even say no, because if Matt Reeves does it, it's like, I don't know, it depends on how the creator does it. But here it's funny of how leaning comic booky, pretty hardcore here.
Yes. No doubt about that. I mean, if this was in one of the Dark Knight trilogy films or the Batman, you would go, oh my God, what are they doing here?
This doesn't fit.
Yeah. I want to say I didn't probably when I watched it, I always try to put myself in the mind of when I first watched this.
Yeah.
And I didn't think really anything,
No.
like,
it's like, okay,
dumb.
Those are Two-Face's bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably, especially for me at that age, of like, it's his bad guys. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kept going on with it. I was like, oh, they're all lining up. They're going to shoot Batman if he comes out of the elevator. Like, oh no. Like,
yeah.
We're 5 minutes into the movie and Batman could die.
Yeah.
Because my mind didn't know any better.
So we get boys kill the bat. The elevator comes down. Open Sesame, directed by Joel Schumacher.
I do remember this. I always thought that was really cool, of the elevator doors opening and it's like the text comes with it.
Yeah.
I like, it's a small thing. It doesn't necessarily matter, but like, you're always supposed to make sure that you see directed by, well, you definitely can see this is directed by Joel Schumacher. And I do love how that opens and reveals it.
And so it also, we'll leave with a cliffhanger here.
Yeah.
Where's Batman?
Did he survive or did he get shot?
Where is he?
Gosh. Bill, I can't handle it.
Did he make it? Where is he?
Uh.
Was he even in the elevator? Well, we'll find out.
Tune in next time.
Yeah. when
Same
we
Bat
talk-
podcast,
Yes.
same Bat website.
We'll find out next time what happened with Batman in the next edition of Batman Forever, chapter by
If they
chapter.
did.
All right.
Kill the Bat.
Yeah. So that's a lot of analysis over
Credits.
what is it 2 minutes? 3 minutes?
6. Because 6 is
it?
good. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was having so much fun. Time just flew by.
I know it. Yeah. And so what
All
happened
right.
with Batman.
We'll finish up. Was this a good opening? Just yeah.
There's an episode if you need some filler, like the best Batman openings. Yeah, I don't know where it would rank. But, get people's attention right off the bat, no pun intended. And I think this kind of does, even with like a credits sequence. It was quick. The credits were just like, here are your stars, and then whoosh, 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 whoosh. And then Batman suiting up. It's like it's moving.
It set the
And then-
tone. It was different
Yeah.
from what we've seen before in the previous two films. Just
Yeah.
overall tone,
Yeah.
everything.
Which is not to say, I'm not saying that right now. If any of them are better or worse than any of the others, it's just like you said, it's just different. Definitely different.
Yeah. So we shall figure out what's next, because we kind of have a continuation, because it's the big helicopter vault action scene, Batman locked in the vault. That's very, from talking to Michael Uslan about this once before. See what I did there? I was name dropping. That's a very 40s, 50s Batman type of scenario. He's trapped in a vault, and we're not going to talk about that yet. So
spoiler alert.
dangle it. Yeah, we'll dangle that out there. All right. Anything you want to mention?
I do. The Batman book
before
club,
we go.
my podcast, most recent episode just dropped. You're on it, and we're talking Robin Dies at Dawn, an issue that got a new life thanks to Grant Morrison, and you and I talk all about that. So however you get your podcasts, and you've also posted it on Batman on Film. So not just because I'm on it, I think we did a pretty good job talking about it from multiple angles. So I highly suggest and recommend people track that down and listen.
Have you got any feedback on that? I'm curious, because Robert Reinecke said he enjoyed it. So
no, I haven't yet, but also since it's dropped, I haven't looked into much either.
Ever get I'm just curious, this is kind of where I'm going with that, is do you ever get like, I never knew of this story, or I knew of this story but had no interest reading it, and then I listened to the podcast, and then I checked it out, and
I do think, and the most common comment that I've gotten from people, and it's not a lie at all, is people saying DC should give you a little bit of commission because you're responsible for me buying this. Okay, you're responsible for me buying this. You're responsible for me buying this. Now they didn't buy this issue, but they at least, they would go on, they'd track it down digitally or something like that.
Yeah.
But I have gotten that a lot. There's definitely one person that instantly comes to mind that likes it when I, at the beginning of the month, talk about the upcoming issues, because he tracks down every book and he wants to read it before listening. And so yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of it, is, hey, check it out and read it. And I've gotten some feedback. I don't have specific people in mind other than Robert. Robert usually likes to tell me if I said something wrong, or expand on the topic, like if I didn't get to something.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that was fun. So check that out. All right. For me, just Batman on Film, batman-on-film.com. That's all I got.
Don't forget the dashes, people.
Yes. And I would plug that episode that you just did.
All right.
Of the Batman Book Club. Robin
That's
Dies at Dawn. One of the greatest Batman stories of all time.
All right. We know why.
Yes, we know why. All right, announcer Rachel will finish up here. We'll catch you next time.
You have been listening to Batman on Film Chapter by Chapter, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the cinematic adventures of the Dark Knight, scene by scene, chapter by chapter. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film. For BOF news only, follow at the Batman on Film on Twitter. To become a BOF patron, go to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm. To advertise on BOF, visit advertisecast.com/BatmanOnFilm. For Jett and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original. Batman on Film. Established in 1998.
Surfing through the Gotham tales online, reading every detail lost in the crime. Collect stories of the Cape Crusade. Each day I'm drawn deeper in the parade. Legends laugh echoes in my mind. Oh, Keaton's image holds the line. Oh, then Batman, ever seen on view, from Joker's chaos to the bat signal blue. Batman on film, when legends unfold, dark knights and heroes, stories told. Tracing shadows from birth to no one's spin. Looking for the truth when the darkness begins. These Batman goes through my dreams. Explosions, stories pushing out the seams. Gotham sailors vibrant on my screen. Characters captured under the silver sheen. Chaos, Batman will prevail. Every scene speaks of justice and due. That cinema forever true.